Hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hit the bell, subscribe. We have new content coming out daily. Make sure you subscribe. God bless you guys. Dave, I want to actually give our audience a fair opportunity here, and this is not a gotcha in any way. Just make the case for Governor DeSantis's policy agenda, how you think the campaign is going. Obviously, we've been, voicing my personal opinions on President Trump's agenda, what he's doing. I want our audience to be able to hear all sides of it. You're a very articulate, I could say, spokesperson for, not officially, but obviously advocate. Kind of make the case, especially to our conservative audience. And then secondly, how do you think his campaign is currently going?
Sure. Well, first off, just to be clear, I'm not a spokesperson. I am not paid for, by the campaign or anything like that. I would not, even if they offered me money, I wouldn't. I'm doing what I think is right. I tell people what I think for a living, and my life, literally my life and the life of my family and my employees who are in this room, and some who work remotely, but many of them who live in Florida, and the two companies that I moved to Florida, is all enriched by the things that Ron DeSantis has done here in the great state of Florida. I don't know that anyone in the entire country left California, fled California more publicly than I did about a year and a half ago to move to the free state of Florida. I would say, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, if you are I would say, right-leaning person, meaning you are, let's say, a disaffected liberal, or you're a traditional, religious conservative, or you're a libertarian, something in that, or you're just, I said disaffected liberal, but you're just sort of an old school liberal who's a little confused about what time it is, say like an RFK type, you, in essence, should be loving every single thing that Ron DeSantis has done. I don't know one thing that Ron DeSantis has not done that we would have wanted him to do. Florida is safe. Its economy is absolutely booming. We fund the police here. We're getting ESG out of our institutions. We've done that, which that's actually perhaps the biggest issue that people don't talk about that often, because it's kind of in the weeds on how corporations are putting wokeness on all of us. I know you talk about it, but the average person doesn't, and they certainly don't in corporate America. He has fought Disney. He has fought the endless racialization of our children by getting rid of this AP African American Studies course that was in essence going to teach gender theory. We've gotten some of these books that are sexualizing our children out of schools. He has done literally everything that anyone right-leaning could believe in or could possibly want to happen. I would say he's done one or two things that are a little bit more right-leaning than I would want.
Oh, they're perfect for me, Dave. I got to say, I love that stuff.
No, absolutely. So, for example, Charlie, I'll give you one that you agree with DeSantis more than I do, which is the abortion one. For me, Florida had 15-week abortion ban, and I've been to every Republican event in the year and a half since I've been here, and I never heard anyone complaining about it. DeSantis often said that he personally was pro-life. And by the way, it's completely within his jurisdiction as the chief executive of the state, especially when you win by a freaking crazy 1.6 million vote landslide, 20%, to do what you think is right. And he has the supermajority in the state Senate to make that happen. So he switched it to 6. Now, I think it's possible that will hurt him in the general election. I think in the primary, it probably a little bit works to his favor. But I know he did what he thought was right, and that's what he believes he should use his power to do as the governor. So I have a disagreement with him on that, but I think that's fine. But I would ask you, what is there anything that Ron DeSantis, you're at least a part-time.
No, he's America's greatest governor. I've said that, and by the way, I've said that repeatedly, and some people say, "Oh, you're anti-DeSantis." I said, "I'm not anti-DeSantis. I've said he's America's greatest governor." But let me ask you, Dave.
Is there anything? What would you say would be your biggest criticism?
My biggest complaint is the last 6 months he's allowing consultants and Chamber of Commerce folks to run his campaign. He doesn't sound like the Ron DeSantis of last year. I'll just be very honest.
So we can talk about the campaign specifically, but give me like a specific example of what happened.
The Ukraine language, right? So the Ukraine language, he was kind of dilly-dallying and flip-flopping on that. At first, he was great. His instinct was territorial dispute. Then he's talking about, more weapons for Zelensky and all that. But honestly, it's also just kind of a vibe and a tone, Dave, where, the base, for example, I'll give you another example. His mishandling of the Trump indictment. I said that Ron DeSantis should have went down to Miami, done a press conference, showed that, hey, this is my state. Hey, Vivek Ramaswamy did it. He ascended in the polls, and now Vivek and DeSantis are tied.
Vivek is working with Trump, and everyone knows that.
Hold on a second, but you're not going to win the primary unless you understand Trump has a built-in 50 to 60%.
But hold on. But if you listen to what DeSantis's words were related to the indictment, he said he would not, on the first indictment, he said he would not extradite him. And he's gone out of his way saying he's going to destroy the very agencies. I think has been more
That's fair.
hardcore in terms
no,
of
his policy's
going ahead.
been fine. But let me tell you how the base heard it, Dave. The base heard this, and it might not even be fair. I'm just telling you how the base heard it, right? Because remember, the base is like a lover scorned. They hear one thing from a politician like Paul Ryan or Boehner and Lindsey Graham, so they have a heightened sense of distrust, and they love Trump, and that's not going to change. They heard Ron DeSantis go out of his way the first time to say, well, I don't know really what goes into payoffs to, Playboy.
Charlie, come on.
I'm not even saying that's fair.
That was just a joke, and Trump makes silly jokes and sex jokes about everything like that. He was making a joke
the
about, I don't
laws
know what
of
it goes
Trump
into.
don't apply to everyone else, Dave. You know that. We're in this. It's a different primary, right? The laws. The guy is levitates. He's a once in a 200-year. He says I'm going to shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and he goes up in the polls. He attacks Kayleigh McEnany.
He's not a politician at this point. He's something beyond a politician, which I also think there's a certain demagoguery that's somewhat dangerous related to that. But by the way, again, I voted for Trump and I like Trump.
No, I know you did.
Yeah.
No, and we could talk more after the break. I think so. That was another thing, and then finally, I know that I'm a little biased very biased. When Ron DeSantis didn't show up at our event, that bothered me. Right? It wasn't some sort of gotcha or trap. I think he would have done very well. I don't think he would have gotten booed or anything. But here's what I would like to see out of DeSantis. We could talk after the break, Dave. When we go to a college campus, you say, hey, if you disagree, go to the front of the line. I want to see somebody get in the arena and say, hey, I'm willing to throw out the script. I'm willing to just take any question. I'm willing to kind of just fight. It's more kind of total and attitudinal. Dave, your reaction, 20 seconds. We'll pick it up after the break.
Sure. So look, if in essence, and we'll pick it up after the break, if in essence your point is, I agree with virtually all of the policies and nobody has accomplished more than this guy and done everything I want to do, but there's a little bit of a marketing issue here. All right, I'll go with you on that, and I think that can be dealt with.